Hello, my name is Angel Soliveris, and I'd like to welcome you to the show, Making the Connection in Lancaster. Today we have a very special guest. Josh Dixon is the President and CEO of the Urban League of Lancaster County. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great
Thank
to
you for
have
having
you here
me.
today.
I'm happy to be here.
Great. Josh, for the benefit of our viewers who might not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with the Urban League and so forth?
Okay. Well, again, my name is Josh Dixon. I'm the President and CEO of the Urban League of Lancaster County. I am actually going into my second year as the CEO here at the Urban League. I'm a local person, born and raised in Lancaster, graduate of McCaskey High School and also Franklin and Marshall College.
Fantastic. Josh, today we're going to be discussing the Urban League and some of the programs and services that you guys provide over there. The Urban League has been around for, some 46 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, serving Lancaster County. So you guys have been around for a while, haven't you?
That's right. We've been in Lancaster since 1965.
1965, wow. I imagine the challenges are different from when the Urban League first started out in 1965. How would you say the Urban League has evolved to handle today's challenges?
Well, I think that the Urban League has changed and evolved quite a bit. As we mentioned, we've been here in Lancaster since 1965, but our national origins actually go way back to 1910. Okay. As a national organization, we actually celebrated our centennial anniversary last summer. And it's a situation where the organization was initially established to assist African Americans as they migrated from southern states to northern states. Right. And in the southern states, there was basically an agrarian type economy. They migrated to the northern states in the early 1900s to take jobs in the manufacturing setting in cities. And even though they thought that they might have been escaping discrimination and some of the Jim Crow laws that were in place during that time, they faced a lot of the same discrimination when they came north. And the Urban League was actually founded to help those African Americans make the transition into the northern states, into northern cities, into that northern culture, if you will. And also to make sure that they did not suffer the same social injustices that they were suffering in the southern states from whence they came. So really, the history and the origin of our organization is to promote social justice. And things have changed over the years. While we still have a focus on social justice, our focus today is much more on creating economic opportunity, educational opportunities, as well as making sure that people have access to quality health care these days. So again, while we still have social justice as part of our mission, the main focus is on economics, education, health care, and also civic engagement.
Right. And one of the things that I'm really impressed with the Urban League is you're not only helping African Americans, but you guys are really diversified. You have a lot of diversity in your organization as well now.
Very true. As I had mentioned before, the organization was established to help African Americans, but the fact of the matter is, Angel, we help anybody.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what your race is, it doesn't matter what your religion is, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you walk through our doors and there are programs that we offer that can help you, we are certainly going to do whatever we can to help you. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, particularly because here in Lancaster, as you know, we have a large Latino population.
Absolutely, yes.
So increasingly, our clientele is Latino, and we are doing what we can do to respond to that. We have one full-time staff person who's bilingual, and she helps very, very much when we have folks who are coming through the door who speak Spanish only. We also have a part-time individual who works at our front desk in the afternoons who's bilingual. And she does a great job in helping us translate for folks who need help translating Spanish to English.
Right. And the other thing, over the years, you guys have developed some really good programs, and I would like to mention a few of them. And if you can mention what the status of some of these programs are.
Sure.
For instance, Project Hope. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Project Hope is a program that's actually been at the Urban League for some 18, 19 years. It's one of our longer lasting programs, if you will, or more entrenched. It's run by program director. Her name is Melinda Zip. and it deals specifically with individuals who are infected with or affected by HIV and AIDS. As we mentioned, the historical origins as an organization designed to help the African American community, African Americans are disproportionately affected by HIV and AIDS. And we also find that other groups, such as Latinos, are also disproportionately affected. Right. So what we do is we establish a program that helps with HIV testing. You can come to the Urban League and get a free HIV test at any time. Also helps folks in terms of those who are actually HIV positive can come have one-on-one counseling sessions with our program director. Right. Also have group sessions with other individuals who are HIV positive. Of course, all this is done in a very confidential nature. But again, it's an opportunity for folks to come talk about their situations and also learn about other programs that can help them in terms of accessing health care or navigating the healthcare system. We also have a particular aspect of the program that focuses on not spreading the disease in the first place. Right. So we offer prophylactics. We also talk about prevention methods. We educate people on how to avoid this terrible disease in the first place.
Great. One of the other programs that caught my attention was your youth education support services. I was really impressed with the computer lab that you guys have in the building. Tell us a little bit about that program.
Absolutely. But before we move on to that, I did want to mention one more thing about Project Hope. We also try to reach out to at-risk populations. And one of the populations that we focused on over the last year or so is the IDU, or the intravenous drug using population.
Right, that's a big one. Yeah.
We offer some incentives through our Project Hope program for people to come in and get tested, and also to bring other individuals who they're associated with, be it their significant other or friends who may in fact be using, to come in and get tested. And like I said, we do offer some incentives there, so I wanted to make sure that we mention that in case there's anybody out there that might be able to avail themselves for the program.
Great.
As far as the youth education services are concerned, you mentioned our computer lab. We do have a computer lab at our center at 502 South Duke Street. And kids are able to come in after school and have an opportunity to complete their homework, receive tutoring. We have a certified teacher who's on staff, and they can receive tutoring in subjects where they need help, and also have access to the computer to help with homework or help with research, sometimes just to surf the web. Right. One of the things that we're doing in our computer lab that's more recent, we've had an opportunity to partner with the folks at the Chris Wilson Foundation, and they provided us with software licenses for a program that's called Achieve 3000. Okay. What that is it's a program geared toward middle school students or students right around that age, to where they can come in and actually log on to the software, and it gives them reading assignments. Okay. And they read those assignments, and then they have written responses to questions about the assignments that they provide via email to the teacher.
Wow, that's
and
good.
The software actually helps track the progress that the children are making in their reading and writing skills. So it's a tool that we're trying to utilize to help kids build their literacy skills, but also to help make sure that kids' skills don't erode over the summer months and times when they're not in school.
Yeah, and I think it's great because, let's face it, a lot of our kids can't afford their own personal computers at home. And for them to be able to go somewhere where they know they have access to computers, and I'm sure that's going to make a big difference in this community.
Absolutely, and really that's what it's there for. You know, for kids who don't have access at home, they can come in, and as you know, many times in school, some of the lessons that are taught are computer-based.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure that these kids have equal access to computers, so they can complete their schoolwork and get a leg up. I'd also like to mention that we do allow adults to utilize our computer lab as well.
Right.
Generally speaking, in the morning hours, we open at 8:30, and from 8:30 until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, adults are free to come in, utilize the computer lab. We run GED classes that it's used for. People come in to do their resumes. People come in to research jobs.
Right.
And then in the afternoons, we clear the adults out and make way for the students to come in after school.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so getting into the employment part of this, the integrated employment program that you have, tell us a little bit about that. I know you're using the computers to search for jobs and so forth.
Absolutely.
What else is that program about?
Well, really, it's a program that's there for job seekers, for people who are either unemployed or underemployed. We provide a case manager for them to come in and talk to and really map out a plan to obtain employment or obtain better employment. It's a situation where individuals come in and we try to assess what their skills are and meet them where they are and try to help them develop a plan to find a job.
Okay.
We partner with the folks over at the Career Link. We offer the Ready to Work program. We also do what's called the WIN assessment to assess what people's skills and interests are. And then we help folks prepare resumes. We have outside folks come in from the community to help do like mock interviews.
Right.
I know there's one particular gentleman who's sitting right next to me who comes in and helps teach life skills
Yes, absolutely.
to the individuals in our IEP program, and I'd like to thank you and the folks at SACA
my
for
pleasure.
partnering with us on that.
Absolutely.
But again, we try to teach folks hard skills as well as soft skills,
Right.
helping individuals to try to seek out, obtain, and most importantly, maintain
Right.
employment.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. The other program that I'm involved with also is the Teen Elect program, and you guys have a Teen Elect program out at McCaskey.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about how your program is going.
Well, we do provide case managers to the Teen Elect program. As you know, that particular program focuses on teens at McCaskey High School who are either soon-to-be parents
Right.
or are currently parenting,
Right.
with a focus on staying in school and obtaining a high school diploma.
Yes.
It's a situation where, again, we talked about how the Urban League, values education, and that's one of our focuses. And we want to do whatever we can within the parameters of that program to make sure that kids have an opportunity to stay in school. We also, through our IEP program, have some counseling that goes on, or we provide sessions for the students in the program, again, on how to look for a job,
Right.
how to find a job, how to prepare a resume, how to prepare for an interview, to help kids, once they achieve that high school diploma, get out and help find work. Of course, there's also a focus on post-secondary education. If kids
Right.
can get into
Absolutely.
college or trade school or nursing
Yep.
school or what have you, we're certainly all for that.
Yeah.
But again, focus on making sure that those kids stay in school so they can do better for themselves, do better for for their children.
Absolutely.
And it's also important to mention that it's not just the girls that are involved. There are males that participate in the
yeah.
program, the fathers of the
teen
children.
dads.
Exactly. And we're also trying to work with those
Yeah.
individuals, trying to prepare them for life after high school, trying to make sure that they complete their high school education. We also offer things such as anger management classes, things of that nature, so they can deal with their situation and be able to focus positively on their futures.
Right. And the young lady that's doing that program is Andrea Brown. Let's mention her because
That's correct.
she is doing an excellent job. And
Absolutely.
I've partnered up with her at McCaskey, and we've done a few groups together, so doing an excellent job.
We're very proud of the work that Andrea does with the program.
Absolutely. This is a new one, the Excellence and Equity in Education. Tell me about that program. I hadn't heard about that one
Sure.
before.
It is a program or an initiative, if you will, that's relatively new to the Urban League of Lancaster County. It's something that's sponsored by the National Urban League in conjunction with the folks at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation,
Okay.
as well as the folks at the Campaign for High School Equity.
Okay.
The focus of the initiative, if you will, is for the affiliates in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Shenango Valley, to help to form coalitions and alliances with other community-based organizations and agencies to spread the word about education and to help push for educational reform.
Okay.
Some of the main focuses of that particular program or initiative are to help educate students, parents, and community members about Common Core standards. As you may be aware, last summer, our state adopted these Common Core standards to
Right,
where
they did.
every school in the in school districts throughout Pennsylvania is going to be teaching to the same standard. Now, of course, that was adopted under the Rendell administration and
Right.
targeted for implementation in 2013, but it seems like it may be stalling
Yes.
under the current
Unfortunately.
administration.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. But it's still, I think it's still important to talk about because it could still potentially impact our students locally and across the state. So, what we've tried to do is we've partnered with the School District of Lancaster. We actually had a forum at Reynolds Junior High School to where we invited parents to come in and talk about it and give them some information. And I try to use vehicles such as this
Sure.
to try to spread the word about what's happening as well. But again, we focus on the Common Core standards, what they mean, what the implementation might mean, and what questions we might want to ask as our school district starts to implement or as our state starts to implement. We also focus on making sure that kids have access to quality curricula at school, quality teachers, focus on out-of-school learning opportunities, such as the program that we discussed, to where if we're going to raise the standards for our children, and in many cases our children have been struggling to begin with, let's make sure that we have some support systems in place to where we can help them. If we're going to ask them to do better in school and meet higher standards, I think we, as a community, we have an obligation to do what we can to support the kids.
I can't agree more.
We also are trying to focus on programs or opportunities where we can do what we call create equity at scale. In other words, if there's a program that's very successful or an approach that's very successful and it's working in a particular pocket or in a particular district, what can we do and what conversations can we have with folks to try to scale that up? If we're having success here, let's try to have success elsewhere, and let's try to use the same blueprint or game plan to achieve that success. So that's really what the Excellence in Equity and Education program is all about. And we're through with our first year, and we're looking to enter into our second year in partnership with the folks at the National Urban League and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
All right, great. Man, I'm excited about that, just hearing about it. The National Urban League also has a program called I'm Empowered. Tell us a little bit about that program.
Yeah. Well, the I Am Empowered is really more about the National Urban League movement.
Right.
There is a website, www.imempowered.com.
Okay.
Folks can log on to that website and sign up to receive information about the National Urban League, about different programs and different initiatives that are taking place throughout the 98 affiliates across the country. They can also receive weekly updates and messages from our national leader, who is Mr. Mark Morial.
Okay.
And it's really a way to really keep in touch with the movement countrywide. And there may be some things that pertain to our local affiliate on that website, but there also may be things pertaining to folks in Philadelphia, Los Angeles, across the country.
I understand.
And really the four focuses of the I Am Empowered movement is that we're trying to get people on board with the idea that in America, every American should have equal access to good jobs that pay a living wage and that have benefits.
Right.
That every American student should have access to a quality education that prepares them for college, work, and life.
Right.
That every American has access to quality and affordable health care, and that every American has access to quality, affordable housing that is energy efficient.
Okay.
And of course at a reasonable price, as I mentioned, affordable.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But there's a pledge that you can take on the I Am Empowered website that really states that you're willing to commit your voice, your efforts, and your resources to achieving those goals by the year 2025. So again, lofty goals, but we need to aim high.
Absolutely.
And this is a focus of the National Urban League and part of what we're about as a movement countrywide.
Okay, fantastic. Josh, if someone would like to contact the Urban League and inquire or have any questions about the services or programs, who can they contact there?
Well, once again, we're located at 502 South Duke Street in Lancaster. Our phone number is area code 717, of course, 394-1966. If you have general questions about any of the programs, you can dial that number and you'll be directed to a program director. If you'd like to speak to me about anything that we've discussed today, I'm at extension 126.
Okay.
You can also log on to our website at www.urbanleagueofscpa.com.
Okay.
And you can learn about our programs and any special events that might be taking place via the website.
Fantastic. And is there any announcements for future projects that you'd like to mention today? Anything going on?
Sure. I'd like to mention that we do, in fact, run a food bank at the Urban League. And during these trying economic times, more and more people have been accessing that food bank. So if you have questions about how to access our food bank, again, I'd encourage you to call us at 717-394-1966. Ask to speak with Melinda Zip.
Melinda Zip. Okay.
I'd also like to mention that we are running a summer program for youth this summer. It's going to start June 21st. We have about 30 slots open for kids in all grades. Mm-hmm. But really we focus on grades, 1 through 6 or 1 through 7.
Okay.
Or kindergarten through 6 or K through 7, should I say.
Mm-hmm.
And that program is being run by Ms. Zeltha Ellis, operating daily beginning at 1 o'clock. Right at our location at 502 South Duke Street.
Okay, great. Volunteers. Any requests for volunteers? Are you guys doing okay in that department? Or you can always use more volunteers, I'm
Absolutely.
sure.
We can always use more volunteers. It's a situation where people are always welcome to come in and avail their skills, talents, or efforts to us.
Right.
If you're interested in volunteering, I would encourage people to contact me directly. We can talk about what it is that you have to offer or what your interests might be in terms of our specific programming, and we can try to match you up with the appropriate program director so you can help out that program. Again, volunteers are always welcome, and as you mentioned, always needed.
Absolutely. Wow, that's great. Josh, thank you. I want to thank you for being here, for enlightening us to all this new stuff that's going on, and the continuing programs that you guys are working on. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here today.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
We'd like to talk forever, because I'm sure there's so many things that we haven't talked about yet, but unfortunately, we run out of time. But one of the things that I did want to say is I wanted to congratulate McCaskey's class of 2011 for doing an excellent job. Those kids worked hard, and I'm in the schools 3 times a week, and sometimes during the school year you see how they're struggling and stuff, and they think they're never gonna come to that fruition to graduate and stuff. But I'm glad to see that some of those that had doubts did finally make it. So I'm sure you join me in congratulating those kids.
Absolutely. Congratulations to the graduating class. Your hard work pays off.
Absolutely.
And we're all McCaskey proud.
For a job well done. I would also like to thank our viewers for watching, because without them these programs wouldn't be possible. So I ask you to please stay tuned for more interesting topics, more interesting guests in the weeks ahead right here on Making the Connection in Lancaster. Thank you and have a great day.